Hello, this is Vaughn Clement. I'm going to be covering a new program called Realty CRM Pro. I'm going to give you the basic overview of the first section of the application, which is this calendar for keeping appointments and tracking all the action requirements that you have as a realtor. This advanced calendar is quite amazing as far as all the things that it does. For example, it takes care of the week, the day, the month, the year, and a list view. Let me just point out weeks, months, year, and a list view of all the appointments that you have to manage. The list view can be printed. You can take this information and use it by sorting it to see what your appointments are that are coming up in a list view. Let's go back to the day. I'm going to not spend a lot of detail trying to show, or times trying to show this particular calendar. It is explained in detail in prior CRM movies that are on the system on YouTube. I'm just going to point out the basic parts of it. For example, we're going to go ahead and create appointments by clicking on the daily, which gives you a new appointment, and then it puts a new line in here and opens up a screen to add and edit the new appointment. One of the main things I do want to show is that you can have as many people that are you want to assign that can have their own individual calendars. This is really good when you want to use a multi-user approach or use this on a web host on the web. Let's go ahead and start through the application. I'm just going to go to the first appointment. You could have many of them in each day. I'm going to go to the first one and show you that there is a daily calendar appointment that has the name that you type in when you add a new appointment. You would go ahead and set the type of appointment that it is: meeting, sales, reminders, paperwork, sales, and show property, or a call or an action item. You can have these edited to add more. I'm not going to go into the details of that. That is explained in the calendar help. You would put in the day or date range. In this case, there's a date range. You can have a start time on one day and on a different day, ending day. There is an area over here where you can put custom properties, where you can have drop-down list of different kinds of things that have to be done, and then you put in whatever another thing is, like you could put a comment. I'm going to drop below this information, explain that in the calendar built into the edit screen, you can put a description of this particular appointment, and then you can create comments, individual comments. You can put a subtask in that actually creates another new appointment based on this appointment. You can also have a work log. The work log covers anything about this appointment where you're actually doing different stages of work that stays within the appointment. It gives you the ability to track information at the appointment level. This area here, just above this area, is the information that is coming from the other side of the application in Realtor. And these are fields from the customer side and the customer screen that are presented here. We use a drop-down list to pick a customer that is pre-entered, and when you enter that, the customer information is put across the area, and all supporting information within customer that has been added will show up in this area. If you're going to assign this particular appointment to additional people other than yourself, all the people that you put in that you may be working with, you put their names in on the main calendar, and you can put a checkbox in, and that information that you see in this appointment will show up on their calendar. So you're actually sharing that. This application is smart enough that it actually sends an email to the different employees and lets them know that they've got a new assignment on this particular calendar appointment. Let's move through this. Say, for example, we have picked somebody here now. We have the information. You can edit in this screen this information here. You could add a description of notes as far as global notes for the general client, and also property notes. This information over here is for birthdays, anniversaries, and inspections. This gives you the ability to see the current information for as many contacts as you have for this main primary client. For example, this person here would then be re-entered here, and then as many other contacts in the family or relatives that are a part of the transaction for a new property. This displays also, if there is a follow-up that you have to do, it actually shows the date the last follow-up or the current follow-up is in the customer client record, so that you know you have a follow-up due. If this is blank, there's no current follow-ups. There's also a customer status and a drop-down that gives you different things like showing done, write an offer, present an offer, sign an offer, need a follow-up, schedule an escrow, closing escrow, and then other sub setups. These buttons here allow you to see a birthday list, an anniversary list, and an inspection list. These are things that come up that are related to the main calendar that can be viewed here, so that you can see on a week, day, or month basis what kinds of birthdays, anniversaries, and inspections are coming up, or you can see all of them for the entire period. Let's move on and go into the actual application. This is done in one of two different ways. Either you can click for this individual record and go see this person, or you can click the customer list, and the customer list will take you directly to all of the customers. Now, I want to point out, before I go to the next step, the user guide explains all this information in very much detail. So if you're going to want a detailed description of the things that I'm going through instead of the basics that I'm showing now, go ahead and use the user guide. It is very detailed. Let's go see this actual customer record from the edit appointment screen. I clicked on that little green icon over there you saw me do, and it takes you right into the main customer, the one that you just clicked on. In this screen, there are a series of tabs across the top of the screen. These tabs, for example, right now I'm in the customer data. I can do location, which shows MapQuest and the actual address and directions to this particular person's home. I have a customer track screen. In the customer track screen, the information that was basically put in on the main customer tab is shown here. And they're what we call UDF fields. UDF fields allow you to add a title and then any information for an input that you want. And you have an infinite number of fields that you can add that scroll for additional information. These fields in the UDS were added so that if I did not include a field that you need for information you want to put into the system, you can add your own field names and your own data as far as those fields are concerned. There is a picture field. You can either have a picture of the customer, or you can put a picture of the house or the house that's being purchased. The property showing. This is a schedule where you basically drop down a list and pick whatever property is actually listed. You select that, it automatically fills in the information for the home, and you schedule a showing. You can schedule as many showings as you want for the property that is being offered by the customer in this particular screen. You can also do additional schedules as far as adding a showing. Now, understand that you can have a customer that is a buyer or a customer that is a seller in the customer area. This would be done for a buyer, for example, adding showings. If you're going to create a listing, you come over to the listing button for a seller and you create a listing. Let's go ahead and go over to the listing screen, and I'm going to show you this. If this is a seller, in this case it's Smith Mary, or Mary Smith, who is a broker. And if she's going to be a broker, you're going to have to make sure that it's not a buyer. If you're going to put a listing in, this has to be a seller of some sort. You could actually edit this and add additional ones if you want to. It's different kinds of sellers. So this is the seller listing screen. In the seller listing screen, you're going to put the basic information for the property that's being offered. If you have a URL to the MRLS or MLS, you put that URL in here, and clicking this icon will take you to the browser and show you that particular record for that site where you're going to go ahead and put it in. If you open up an MRLS by its number, you can copy information directly to this screen and make the different appointments here, information there. So if you're adding text in this area, it could be the detail of the actual dwelling that you're going to be putting up for sale, and the check boxes for that particular client and the informations for their property. So let's go ahead and say, let's look at photos for that particular property. You can put an infinite number of photos in. You can also have the description for each one of these in here and comments for all the photos that you're looking at here. There's actually a portal. You can go out and look at these in a larger picture by clicking this button here. The property offer. If you're going to take an offer from the showings that you had on the last screen, you can go ahead and run these showings in this screen. There are detail fields in here for tracking the offer. In this particular case, there was a listed price, and the person offered full amount for that listing, and actually they did a lesser, and you can see in here that they had offered $412,000, which the property was actually shown at $418, and the difference of $6,000. I'm not going to go through all the detail, but basically what it does, it'll track the loan information at a base level. It'll show the access to the property as far as the date they want to move in, when the seller wants to offer the property to be moved in, the broker's real estate rate percent, the actual commission on the property at this particular information level, and the amount of the loan that was still on the property. There was still $100,000 remaining on the seller's mortgage, and then the balance that the seller would net from the property based on the commissions and other things. There's also a finance tab, and in the finance tab, what you can do is you can see that we put in the full amount of the financed amount based on the actual offer. We put in the bank and who's carrying the note, and then when it's going to be applied as far as the note applied for, if it's approved, when it's approved, and then when it's funded. If it's across many different loan capabilities as far as a second, owner carry, or another loan, that information is put in here and also documented. You can even do a payment schedule. You can take the different loans, and on each loan you can put the percent, the term, and actually come up with the payment, then summarize the payment based on the sum to be financed, and then long term, over the period of the entire loan, what the actual payback would be for each level of each part of the loan. There's also a thing in this which is kind of interesting. It's called the data portal. This actually came from a beta tester originally, where the beta tester wanted to have the ability to track any kind of information, video, audio, or a picture, or also be able to go to many different websites where information was available as far as trapping information, and also PDF, for example. You could copy a page and put a PDF in here. When you click on the actual portal, it'll show a full-size page so you can read it within the application. And just going back to property showing, you can see that you can also do finds. These are searches where you do a find and then perform the find. You can use many different kinds of finds to actually do different kinds of information gathering. Let's go ahead and look at one other thing. On this screen, I've included a graph. And what the graph does, it actually creates a screen where you can see the monthly real estate bookings that you've actually completed. And this will help you in managing your own assets that you've sold. Going back to the property, there is also on this screen the same drop down where you have to, if you have to, you can assign a different level to the particular type of client that is in here. This screen is used to actually set up a new record for the particular property offer and the listing itself, where you add that information from the customer screen. This is a selection area where if you click in this area like you saw me clicking, you can change the record to a different client, or you can use the list view that is clicked on by clicking on this button, or you can use the menu bar and go and see any of the screens that are in the application. Just point out here, I also have one in where you can actually print envelopes for the contacts if you want to mail them something, and of course you can actually do any screen as far as an email if you wanted to. Let's go back to the customer screen. To go back to the main appointment calendar, you click this button to return to the appointment you were working on, and then close this screen to go back to the calendar. I want to thank you for taking this short tour. This gives you an overview of how the application functions. If you have any questions, please get the user guide and read the user guide for the details. Thank you for taking this tour.